TIFU by recommending a book at work and getting reported for sexual harassment. So I'm mid-20s male. Finding about all of this as of yesterday. I work as an assistant manager at a retail chain in a fairly intimate environment due to how small the store is. About 15 staff total when the norm is about twice that. One of my associates, 19 years old female, is an avid reader, which was a great talking point because I also like to read. So we got to talking books and she was mentioning how she loves all types of fiction from the likes of Tolkien, Martin, Stephen King, Bradbury, etc. But she was looking to branch out a bit since it's usually either high fantasy or sci-fi. I thought I would recommend her one of my favorite books that's basically a day in the life type book with some light fantasy elements. Norwegian Wood by Haruki Murakami. For those that haven't read any of his work, he's fairly mature and graphic in his writing, dealing with things like mental illness, sexual tension, escapism, suicide, etc. Which I made very clear to her before recommending and thought, well, I remember loving this book right when I graduated high school and she reads Martin, so this will be a nice read for her. Edit for those asking. Yes, I did give the book to her the next day after I mentioned I had a copy and that she would like to read it. I have loaned this book out many times and thought nothing of it. My mistake. I know. Well, I was wrong. I was closing up shop yesterday when my general manager walks in on her day off saying she needs to speak to me. Turns out, said employee has filed a formal harassment charge against me for the book recommendation. We're still working on what to do next, but from the looks of it it's going to elevate to company HR. And I'll either be best case taking a class or worst case fired over said book. Looking back, it was a total goober move to recommend a book like that at work. TLD, or keep your reading preferences to yourself, kids. Recommending a book when approached to do so doesn't sound like a very solid case to me. So the Game of Thrones books don't have any sex scenes or incest or rape. Maybe you should mention the books she was referring to when you meet with HR. Murakami is a modern-day master. You should file a counter-complaint for literary malfeasance. Why do some people have to make everything about themselves? Unless OP had been acting all Johnny Bravo when recommending any book. You should not take it so personal. F17 was also previously recommended this book. However, there was no warning as to what it was about and I had not read things like this before which the recommender was aware of. It was described as someone reflecting on their life. I read it and was taken aback a little. Although generally it wasn't a bad book to me. And then I was in quite a bit of trouble with my parents that found the book in my room and read some of it but never once thought of doing something like a full-on report. Your coworker could have simply stated to you that it wasn't up her street and that would have been the end of it. Good luck and put up a fight. You aren't in the wrong. Just bring some evidence of Murakami's books being major respected literary works. Here's some evidence from Cambridge University. I say, fight it aggressively with HR. You and coworker were talking about books you liked. She said Martin et al. And you said Norwegian Wood. There's sexuality and violence in Martin books. And she said she liked his work. So, you weren't out of bounds. More importantly, you aren't responsible for some author's content. English classes often assign students Mein Kampf by Adolf Hitler. That doesn't mean the teacher is a Nazi. Or is trying to get students to become Nazis, only that the book is interesting. Therefore, HR has no basis whatsoever to make any judgments about your character, behavior or intentions based upon a book you enjoyed reading and recommended for its literary merit. Also, You aren't responsible for the coworker's reaction to the book. If you wish the coworker happy Thanksgiving, and she gets upset because it turns out that her parents died in a car crash one Thanksgiving, her reaction is not your fault. You have no control over someone else's emotional responses, nor should you have. If you'd said something cruel or overtly hurtful to her, that would be different. But that is decidedly not what happened here. Go at them hard. Stand tall. Be aggressive. Point out that the accusations are absurd. Demand a retraction. I think you should write up a response in your own words. No longer than the first 2 paragraphs above. Practice saying it a few times and memorize it. When you go into the HR office, before the HR person has a chance to say anything, deliver your speech. Boom, 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 point by point. Such people are so used to being in a position of power over someone else. Your being on the offensive, and in the right, will disconcert them. Oh, FFS. Insane. And I'm dying for the update on this one. Sounds like she's looking for an excuse to get you in trouble. My advice: don't engage with her and even bring in the book during the investigation so you can prove it exists. Just a note to say, I don't feel what you did was out of line given the explanation and circumstances. I have worked in corporate offices my entire career and offenses worse than this, which I personally don't feel yours is even justified, were handled with a class or retraining in harassment. Corporate offices must take all complaints seriously and investigate. It's policy. They are following policy. Nothing more. If you get fired over this nonsense, I want to know who this company is. Good luck. I feel like this situation includes outside influence, i.e. parents. That's not a goner move. It's a completely normal exchange between grown-ups who like to read. She sounds immature and like she's looking for reasons to be offended or to feel harassed, without taking the consequences of her actions into account. I'm sorry this is happening to you and hope it comes to nothing. People like this undermine normal interpersonal relations and create a climate of fear. It's infuriating. I looked into reading this and a good number of reviews described it as rapey and creepy. And it's mostly about sex and death. And that it shouldn't be the first Murakami books you read. So I didn't read it. That said, the other authors she mentioned are pretty harsh. Lots of death. Sexual situations that cross lines. And don't seem that different, or that this would be a huge step from them. Provide a written account of your side of the story. She asked you for book recommendations. The authors she said she liked. That the books they write are adult and include sex and violence. And that you gave her a warning. And in the future, don't recommend anything sexually explicit to a coworker of any gender, and especially young ones. How to tell us you are from the US without telling you are from the US. As a woman who's been sexually harassed in the workplace, this isn't it. Amazing how sensitive people are. They'd rather ruin your career than have a conversation. Sad. Don't let them convince you that you're in the wrong. This is a ridiculous situation. One tip. Don't share the fact you've shared this situation online with your higher ranks. Even not if you think it'll benefit you. Because it won't. For some reason, people with a higher rank in society or in certain situations look down upon this kind of behavior. This again might cause a more negative opinion or finale decision. 2 possibilities here. 1. There are key pieces of information being left out. 2. Someone's looking for a promotion. That's why I don't recommend books to dumb people. Stick to Magic Treehouse or whatever. Sounds to me like you shouldn't have any other unnecessary interaction with the employee cause. She's looking for reasons to complain. Hutef complains over a book recommendation. Granted, we weren't there, so we don't know exactly what you said or how you said it.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.